Welcome back to New Wood Nichols, people. What's up? Hey, anybody that watches the channel, I did a video, I guess it was about 8-9 months ago, roughly. It was labeled Understanding the Birth Registration Process. However, unbeknownst to me, until after it was already posted, the phone cut off on me, so it cut off in the middle of the video, and it's been on my to-do list to redo that video. So that's what today's video is going to be. I'm going to redo that video. It's only roughly a page and a half. However, it's important information for anybody that is, lost as it relates to understanding why and or how the government was created by the people and for the people. However, they're exploiting the people, dictating to the people, and basically denying their rights. So, if any of you guys are wondering how it happened and why things are the way they are, this is a video you want to pay attention to. So, with that being stated, let me get the disclaimer out of the way, and I will go ahead and read through this as clearly and as legibly as I'm capable of, so that way, there'll be no understandings as to what's being dispensed. So my content's for educational purposes only. Can't stress enough for you guys to do your own research. Appraise my content. Throw in the comments any errors you find. None of us have been alive long enough to know all that transpired in the past, and none of us can live long enough to know all there is to learn. I'll also, I got some mics, but the device that I would have been plugging the mics into is the microphone attachment seems to be faulty. So, for all you guys that say, man, your videos is too low, I can't hear you. Well, give me a second, I'm gonna have that straight for y'all. But this is the reason why I have the recorder so close to me, so that way you guys can hear what it is that I'm saying to y'all. All right, understanding the birth registration process. Remember, in Admiralty, vessels documented by registration under the laws of the United States are entitled to privileges and subject to the obligations prescribed by the laws of the United States for merchant vessels. To start out with, hold on for a minute. This way I ain't got to stop. All right. To start out with, your parents, due to their prior birth registration, were already considered being registered, documented vessels / mentally incompetent wards of the state, being under the guardianship of the state, who by legal marriage, where the state is a third party to the marriage contract, had an offspring / ward, which they brought into this world by delivery. Excuse me. The act by which the res, the subject matter of a trust, the res, R-E-S, in law stands for the subject matter of a trust, or substance thereof, was placed within the actual or constructive possession or control of another in the delivery room of the maternity ward of the hospital, the port of entry for vessels and wards. This is a reason, if for no other reason, why we need to start having home births, because I just read to you, and I'm going to read it one more time before moving on. I want y'all to pay attention to what it says, because when that happens, meaning when they deliver your child, different processes take place that are unbeknownst to you. And those processes have lifelong effects if you do not become aware or privy to the type of information that I'm dispensing to you now. It says, the act by which the res was placed within the actual or constructive possession or control of another in the delivery room of the maternity ward of the hospital. The hospital is the port of entry for vessels in wards. A vessel, in legal terms, is a person. Who else can come into possessive or constructive, actual or constructive possession of your child in the delivery room or the maternity ward of the hospital? Exactly. Home births. All right? We got to start caring about us and loving us, because they damn sure don't. Then they asked your mother for your legal name, in upper lowercase, which consists of one Christian name and one surname, which is the name on the record of live birth, written in upper lowercase letters. What your mother was not told is that she delivered you to an agent / licensed doctor of the state in a federally funded hospital, an act by which the res, which is, again, the res means the subject matter of a trust or substance thereof, was placed within the actual or constructive possession or control of another, the state, for which in equity they created a certificate of live birth with the all capital letters and recorded that warehouse receipt in the commercial registry as cargo under transportation. All that shit means something. The hospital documented your birth with the legal name title in a distinctive style or appellation, upper lowercase, the name by which anything is known, and because under trust law, whenever title or money is transferred, a trust is created by operation of law, representing you, for which they created a certificate of live birth in all capital letters. It's the reason why they use all capital letters, because this trust is a corporate person, not you. It's what the government uses to gain access to the living, breathing soul, sentient being's body, and can compel you to perform, i.e., pay, become an obligor, have to pay alimony, child support, etc. All right? Maybe I got some of y'all's attention when I got to talking about child support and alimony. Hopefully. Anyway. Hold on. Okay. For which they created a certificate of live birth in all capital letters, which was filed with the local registrar and registered with the state via certificate of registry in commercial maritime law, which is a certificate of registration of a vessel according to the Registry Acts. Y'all might want to look up the Registry Acts. For the purpose of giving her a national character, i.e., U.S. citizen born in a federal zone, hospital zip code, in the judicial district in which the berthing of the vessel occurred, identified by the filing with the Florida State Department of Health, Office of Vital Statistics within 5 days after your delivery, and then sent to Washington, D.C., for which the hospital receives a check for that vessel. This is another reason why we need to start doing home births. I'm not going to go into detail about it. I mean, I'm just going to keep reading. This is why, I know I just said I wasn't going to do it, but I got to. This is why every time, somebody has a child in the hospital, well, what's the baby's name so we can put it on the birth certificate? The local registrar issued your parents a copy of the warehouse receipt for the cargo, the certificate of birth from the state of Florida in all capital letters, representing a vessel / ward of the state, representing the abandonment of your title by registration. I'm going to read that again. Then the local registrar issued your parents a copy of the original warehouse receipt for the cargo, i.e. your child. The certificate of birth from the state of Florida in all capital letters, representing a vessel / ward of the state, representing the abandonment of your title by registration. The state of Florida, the creator / trustor of the trust, the Sestaquay Trust, then created I went a little too fast. Let's just go ahead and get into that. Let me get back to it though. Then the state of Florida, the creator / trustor, then created a Sestaquay Trust, a constructive trust. You got to look these terms up. Somebody with a legal dictionary, if you're watching this video, write these terms down and look into these terms in their law and see what it means. Behind your back after the fact, with the upper lowercase name, and placed a value on it based on actuarial estimates of your future labor / human resource. Human resources? Now you see what it's all about. Then they issued a bond against the trust's assets, a certificate of indebtedness, and funded the bond through the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, based on your future earnings from your labor as the contributing beneficiary, which is a trust asset, and set up a Federal Reserve account for the same. So now the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, has a beneficial interest in and out of the trust estate. The legal title is now vested with the state of Florida and held by the alien property custodian in Washington, D.C. Equitable title copy of certificate of birth held by you, representing equity / labor, the government acting as the managing fiduciary trustee. The Secretary of State Registrar acting as fiduciary trustee until you turn of legal age, 18. Y'all done heard it before. Or you 18 now, you got to go get your Social Security card. That's if they didn't already have it for you, an extra one for you. And then what you do? Sign your name. We'll get into that a little later. Okay. And you acting as fiduciary trustee for the trust with duties and obligations once you turn of legal age. And the Secretary of Treasury in charge of the Federal Reserve account in your name. Okay. Let me ask y'all a question. Say you and me in my car, right? We in my car, we riding, doing whatever it is we doing on our way somewhere, whatever the case. We get pulled over. They find a hammer in the car. They find a gun in the car. All right? It's one or two things that can happen. Either some bullshit will happen, you know, people start saying it ain't mine or it's his or whatever the case, or, you know, your vehicle, whatever's found in your vehicle, the vehicle's in your name, that constitutes as possession, unless they find it on an individual's person. That's a little different. But if they find it in the vehicle and you're not able to legally possess a firearm because you're a person prohibited based on having felonies, then if it's your car, 9 times out of 10 it's going to break down to your gun, unless the other party in the vehicle, the gun was found on his person or her person. That's different. You see what I'm saying? Just like if it's my house and your name's not on the lease and you're just there when they put boot the door. If my name's on the lease, then I'm responsible for what's in that house. Okay? So, if it's in your name, it's yours. It's another example just to get it clear. You know, for you know, I've been there. I know a lot of y'all probably there right now. Some of y'all. Look here, baby girl. I need you to put this car in your name, or I need you to put this house in your name. You know, something happens. You know, or if y'all fall out and her emotions flip. You know what I mean? If it's in her name, it's hers. You can argue all you want. It's not in your name. So how can it be, how can you claim ownership to it? Now, I just gave y'all some game on the part I just read. You know what I mean? This is how, if you've been hearing about it, this is how and why there's an account under your name with funds in it. You know? But make no mistake, in order for you to gain access, you know, it's a lot of shit, it's a lot of study, it's a lot of astuteness that goes into, you know, graduating through the degrees of knowledge, study, you know, to be able to actually and accurately gain access to said funds. But it's in your name. That's the point of all of that. Okay. The ward/vessel is now a vessel of the United States. That's important. That ward/vessel is now a vessel of the United States, documented by registration under the laws of the United States and subject to its laws and jurisdiction. Another heavy portion of that sentence. I'm going to read it again. That ward/vessel is now a vessel of the United States. That denotes ownership. They own you. Now it should make sense how they're able to dictate and tell you what you're gonna do. Or, like they said on that movie back in the day, I think it's I'm gonna get you something. You want to take the window or the stairs? It's up to you. You know what I mean? But slavery is real, people, and this is how they pulled it off right here. So I hope y'all paying attention. And unless you like being a slave and being told what to do and being a good boy or a good girl to get the privileges that they've allotted for you, providing you perform and be the obligor of any of, like I said, its laws and or jurisdiction. Y'all need to look this shit up so y'all can understand the parameters of this shit that I'm breaking down for you. I'm gonna stay on task. I was about to take a left turn on y'all, but I'm gonna stay straight. I'm gonna keep going straight. All right. That ward/vessel is now a vessel of the United States, documented by registration under the laws of the United States and subject to its laws and jurisdiction. And the title goes to the Allen Property Custodian in Washington, D.C. in a maritime in rem action. Jurisdiction over the person of the defendant, the vessel, is premised upon the presence of the vessel within the district in which the court sits. The only vessel they have jurisdiction over is the trust. What's the trust? The paper with your name in all caps. The social, the birth certificate. That is evidenced by the certificate of live birth, establishing the 3 points of jurisdiction. The 3 points of jurisdiction. That is your name, your social security number, and your date of birth. The Federal Reserve account under the supervision of the Secretary of the Treasury, who is also the managing trustee for the Social Security Administration and governor of the International Monetary Fund. Up until you turn of legal age to work, the Deputy Registrar, on behalf of the Registrar/Secretary of State, or the Registrar/Secretary of State, whichever signed the certificate of live birth, has been the fiduciary trustee for that trust created behind your back and securitized, where the government owns it in part and you own it in part. They give you a social security number. The only way you're able to get a social security number is because they have the main file. And if you look on the back of your social security card, it says property of the government, and upon request must be returned. Okay? Meaning the registrar had the fiduciary duty and obligation for that trust up until you started your first job. That is why the state can take the child away from the parents, because it is the duty and obligation of the fiduciary trustee as guardian to look after the ward and make sure he or she is taken care of properly. They got money on you. They're expecting to get money from you. Your labor, which is your private property, and shall not be taxed. But that's all contingent upon your jurisdiction and the status. It's the status that you have, or because the status comes first, because status denotes jurisdiction. Jurisdiction lets them know whether they can or cannot adjudicate against you. So, back to it. When you filled out the application form SS5 for a Social Security card, the registrar turned over the duty of the obligation of the fiduciary trustee over to you because he did not want to be responsible as fiduciary for anything you did in commerce using that Social Security card and or number. Because now you engaging in commercial intercourse in commerce. And they know that you don't know how to properly engage in commercial intercourse because they don't teach us financial literacy. You then became the contributing beneficiary and fiduciary trustee for that trust with the duties and obligations for filing and paying the licensing taxes, registration taxes, and taxes on profits, gains, and income generated for the trust once it starts to operate in commerce with a Social Security card/number on all commercial transactions, because you, on behalf of the beneficial owner, the trust, which is resident within a territory occupied by military forces with which the United States is at war, or a resident outside of the United States for which you are considered an enemy doing business with a license and tax identifying number for the purposes of trade, effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within said territory for which you are granted a license under the authority of the President pursuant to the Trading with the Enemy Act. Look it up. As an enemy in order to trade or attempt to trade with the enemy for the beneficial owner of the trust, and as the fiduciary trustee paying, satisfying, compromising, or giving security for the payment or satisfaction of any debt or obligation, and for drawing, accepting, paying, presenting for acceptance or payment, or endorsing any negotiable instruments, or chose in action on behalf of the trust. So, to simplify that, as the brother Phil Valentine, Dr. Phil, said in one of his videos that I watched, when you sign that Social Security card, you are in effect saying, I am that, and I take liability for any debts that it incurs. That's what that whole part talking about paying, satisfying, compromising, and all that shit. Yeah. So, the last sentence reads as follows. It says, liberty has never come from the government. Liberty has always come from the subjects of it. The history of liberty is a history of resistance. Truth be told, our problem with that, though, in today's day and age, everybody's so docile. If they not docile, they too distracted, chasing these Federal Reserve notes that they about to crash any motherfucking way. Well, at least that's what the talk is. They about to crash the dollar. and convert the currency system into a different format, but at the end of the day, whatever format they change it to, it's not going to be backed by anything of substance. Gold bars or silver, gold bullion or silver coins. It's not going to be backed. And the silver that they do use for the quarters and dimes and nickels, it's not 100% silver. They've been diluted that shit a long time ago. So, hey man, this has been the reading of Understanding the Birth Registration Process. Hopefully this has been educational and enlightening for those who have taken the time to watch it. I'm going to leave y'all with this, man. Education is nothing if not implemented. Knowledge is nothing without it being implemented. We all got free will. So if you know better and choose not to do better, so be it. I holla at y'all. Peace.